do well in sports. And first up, he was actually a part of the situation that we just talked about in the doghouse, Joe. He was the player on the other end of John Halliburton,
Hmm.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Whew.
Now, I know I'm going to hear somebody say, "Well, you know what? They haven't won much with him the last 9 games. You know, they are 1-8 in the last 9 playoff games that Giannis has started in." I do want y'all to know that Doc Rivers was his head coach while that happened. So, but Giannis though,
Yeah. So now, okay, go ahead.
Giannis actually had a really good season, minus them being eliminated in 5 games. So for the regular season, he played in 67 games this year. He averaged 30 and 12 with 6.5 assists, about a steal and a block a game, shooting 60% from the field. In the postseason, his points went up, rebounds went up, assists went up, steals and blocks was kind of sort of the same, and his field goal percentage went up. He was the only player to average 30 plus points per game on 60+% field goal percentage, and he did it 2 seasons in a row. No one else has done this other than Giannis. In game 5, he put up 30 points, 20 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. That was the first 30, 20, 10, 2-2 playoff game in NBA history. No one else has done that. He's top 5 in true shooting percentage in the playoffs this year. He's actually number 5. And in the first 4 games, he averaged nothing less than 28 points in the first 4 playoff games, and they only won 1 game out of that. They were down 3-1, but I mean, it wasn't because he wasn't doing anything; it's because nothing else around him worked. And Dame only played from 2 on, and he ended up getting injured. He tore his Achilles. Was it his Achilles or his ACL? I think it was his Achilles.
Achilles.
So towards Achilles, he's going to be out for half the season at minimum. But Giannis had a really good playoffs. I mean, the man averaged 33 points through the playoffs this season. He's still a phenomenal player, and now there's questions about where is he going to go? Is he going to stay with the Bucks or is he going to leave? Giannis has flirted with leaving before. When he got his first contract, he talked about he possibly might leave just because he wants to keep winning. So we don't know what's going to happen. And I had already said this before, but the Miami Heat are going to be in the conversation as far as someone interested in him. I already hear Miami Heat fans saying, Giannis, you're a Miami Heat. No, he's not. Just stop it. But the Spurs are interested in getting him. So just imagine if the Spurs, you got Giannis, Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox. I mean, that would be a crazy thing to happen, but who knows? Someone on that team is going to have to be a part of that trade. And then the Rockets. They said the Rockets are in that conversation to possibly go after Giannis as well. But Giannis had a really good regular season, really good playoffs. It's just, his team came up on the losing end, but that doesn't take away from what he did as a player. So Giannis is a dog. Joe?
Would be a good location for Giannis? The Orlando Magic.
Joe, oh my goodness. As soon as you said that, that's the first thing that popped in my mind was the Orlando Magic.
They could give up France,
him and
no,
Paolo?
they don't have to give up France.
Yeah, him and Paolo? Crazy.
Yeah, Paolo's
crazy.
The reason why I thought about that, this is what I wanted to say about Giannis. When I look at all the big men in history since maybe the 90s, right? You look at all the big men who won a championship. You look at Hakeem Olajuwon. You look at Shaq. Look at Tim Duncan. Kevin Garnett. Giannis himself. Who
Dwight
else?
Howard.
Dwight Howard didn't win.
I mean, he did win the championship. He won with the Lakers in 2020. I know what you said. I know what you said. I just had to mention it.
AD. Do you use AD?
Jokic.
AD, right? AD. So the similarities for all those guys who won, Shaq had Kobe. Tim Duncan, he had Ginobili. Parker, but he also was a closer because he had a go-to shot. He had that mid he got. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, but Kevin Garnett is also a closer himself. He got a mean jump shot. Olajuwon is a closer. And who else we named? AD is also skillful enough to close too. Giannis is not. When Giannis won, he had Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was his closer. So he needs a closer. And Dame is supposed to be the closer, but Dame is dealing with injuries. So if he goes to Orlando, Paolo is a closer. And get rid of France because you get rid of France, Jonathan Isaac, who they've been holding on to for years. Because Orlando got a lot of young assets. You keep subs, and you have Paolo, you have Giannis, and you surround them boys with shooters. Just get some threes, some shooters. People will want to play with that. They saw what Paolo did in his playoffs. They know about Giannis. Come on now. And you stay in the East. You don't go to the West, but West is tough. The East is an easier road, you can say. So I think that would be a good destination for Giannis. And it's Disney.
You're right. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because
shout out to Bibby.
The only thing is they got to surround it with some shooters. Orlando don't have a lot of shooters on that team. That's the only thing.
Yeah, they have to work with their roster. And they could always trade for some guys. I don't know, but they're going to make it work because getting rid of France Wagner's contract he just signed, it might match his young. I got to look at the contract situation, but you got France Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, and those other guys in there, and you just take Giannis, and then that empty because you're gonna have some empty space for the you sign some guys. Guys will want to sign, get some vets. I don't know, make it work. That's their job.
Absolutely, but you got to figure out a way to get him. Then yeah, that makes sense. Or Joe, the Hawks might be a good spot too because you got Trae Young.
Yeah, but Trae Young
you got a closer right there.
Yeah, but Trae Young, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they'll win a championship. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see that. But Trae Young, because Trae Young has his deficiency. He's small. He's tiny.
He does. But remember, he got his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
he did.
Just saying, it's possible.
I like Orlando. Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they lost 4-1 too, so I guess it makes sense. Guess it makes sense. I mean, at least they didn't get swept. At least they get swept. But Giannis, nonetheless, your dog. Okay. Now, the other person that I decided that I believe I should be talking about today is a guy who was traded this season from the East to the West. And no, it's not the craziest trade that happened. I mean, because they both were in the West, so of course that doesn't count. And it wasn't Jimmy Butler. I'm not talking about Jimmy Butler today. I am talking about someone that he was compared to before on this show. Julius Randle. Julius Randle is a dog. The guy deserves his respect. He went from the Knicks to the Timberwolves, and people were saying that the Knicks might be the winners in this trade just because of Cat and look. Both of those guys have both advanced to the second round. The only difference is Julius Randle was the underdog. The Wolves were not expected to win this. They had a 28% chance to win this series before it started, and they won this 4-1. Julius Randle averaged 23 points per game in this series. Now, that's not a lot, but it's still something that matters because, Joe, you know what? In the last 31 games for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves won 26 of 31 of the last 31 games that Julius Randle played in. So he is a huge reason why that happened. Huge reason. And then not only that, Joe, in that last game, he made it wasn't that he didn't score 30, but it seemed like every bucket he made a difference. Almost every bucket. And he was hustling on defense. He was getting key rebounds in that game. I mean, he was playing LeBron tough on defense. He really was. He was making the team. And remember, he was a former teammate of Brown. People forget about that. He was a former teammate, and he was one of the few players that got traded. Lonzo Ball ended up getting traded. I think Lonzo was probably gone before LeBron got there, but Lonzo Ball got traded. Oh well, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, all those were the three guys.
Same trade.
All of them got shipped away. So this was a revenge series for him too. This was a revenge game for him. This man had to play against his former team that he got drafted to, and he got traded away once LeBron got there. And I know this feels great for him that he's like, man, look, I got traded after you got here. And now look, you out of the playoffs because of me. The last 2 seasons, the Lakers have been put out in the first round. Last 2 seasons, LeBron he's gotten to the Western Conference only 2 times since he's been a Laker. In the bubble, and just a couple seasons, maybe I think like 2 or 3 seasons ago, when they were the seventh seed in the from the play-in tournament. That was the same year that the Miami Heat went all the way to the finals when they played against the Nuggets. So yeah, it was two seasons ago. But since then, I mean, it's been inconsistent. And there was always an argument about LeBron James coasting through the East. And then some people were saying, man, he gonna do it in the West too. Well, don't look like that to me. Now I get it, he's 40, but he was also 40 when y'all was saying he was a top 10, top 5 player in the league. So you gotta balance it out. But Julius Randle has definitely had a phenomenal season this year, and this is where a lot of people were questioning him because he hasn't really been that really good in the playoffs lately. Remember when he was the Knicks? That's when he folded pretty much. He wasn't the same player in the playoffs, but this year in the playoffs, you could tell that he's playing a lot different. And that's, kudos to Anthony Edwards' leadership because he praises all of his guys. And Julius Randle is definitely one of them. And Ant has been outspoken about Julius Randle and the rest of his teammates, Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels. I said the right one this time, Joe. Julius Randle has just been a big piece for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Joe.
LeBron, cool time, full time, they folding. T wasn't 5. Anyways, Julius Randle, man, he was really good. One of the reasons why I picked the Lakers, one of the reasons because of Julius Randle. I didn't trust him in the playoffs. His playoff performances in the past have been bad. Don't get me wrong, his last playoff performance, he was hurt. And we forget about that. He was playing with an injury. And so he didn't look the same. But it was a huge drop-off in the playoffs. But this playoff series, he was very physical. Offensively and defensively. Offensively, he didn't settle for 3 a lot. He lived in that mid-post. He was getting big offensive rebound, like you said, and that would energize the crowd. He was drawing fouls. He played good on defense on LeBron James because he could match LeBron's size. He was just phenomenal in this series. And I want to give him props. He deserves all the credit. He averaged, like you said, 23 points a game. He was their second best player in this series. And I heard somebody say that might say that the duo from the Timberwolves were a better duo collectively, offensive and defensively wise, than the Lakers duo, Luka and LeBron. There's an argument you could put there. So the fact that Julius Randle is being talked about in the duo that could be better than LeBron and Luka is super high praises for him. And I know one thing I did think him coming to Minnesota, he does matches the dog mentality Anthony Edwards has. Like he matches that. I just felt like people overkill Cat because of the expectations for Cat. Like Cat is so talented, like AD, literally like AD. You expect AD to be this, but he will bring you here sometimes. But even here sometimes is better than what most guys do, So, and that's how Cat is. Cat is the same way, but he ain't a dog though. Julius, like Cat was in this series, they might have lost. I'm not gonna lie. They would have lost. But Julius Randle was a better fit for this series particular because of the LeBron James matchup and his physicality, what they needed to win the series. So shout out to Julius Randle. He deserves all the credit. He's definitely a dog.
Absolutely, man. So, baby, I hope you watched that. I hope you heard what we said about Brown.
Oh.
Because your boy Julius Randle, who guarded him, is the dog.
Like a dog myself.
I mean, you are, Joe. You on the show, so you are a dog. I forgot to give y'all a hint on the big dog.